The grand convocation chamber floated in the darkness of space, a massive station that had witnessed 10,000 years of galactic peace. Inside its crystal walls, 12 species sat in judgment of the younger races. Today, they were discussing humanity. Ambassador Park Minji stood in the center of the chamber. Her small frame looked tiny compared to the towering aliens around her. She had come to ask for something simple. Earth needed safe passage through the Threshold Passage, a corridor of space that connected human colonies to their home world. The Krenth Empire controlled that passage, and they were not friendly. "The Krenth ships attack our traders," Park said, her voice steady. "They destroy our cargo vessels. They kill our people. We ask the Council to guarantee our safety through the passage. We only want to trade and travel in peace." High Chancellor Velroth rose from his seat. His body was made of living crystal that reflected the chamber's light in rainbow colors. He had led the Council for 300 years. To him, humans were children playing at being adults. "Your species has been among the stars for only 200 years, Velroth said. His voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "The Krenth Empire has been a council member for 4,000 years. You ask us to punish them for defending their territory? This is not how the galaxy works. They attack civilian ships," Park repeated. "We have lost 3,000 lives in the past year alone." Another council member laughed. It was a sound like grinding rocks. 3,000? We lose more than that in industrial accidents. You humans breed so quickly. Surely, you can spare a few thousand. Park felt anger rise in her chest, but she kept her face calm. She had expected this. Earth had sent her because she could control her emotions better than most. But even she had limits. "We are asking nicely," Park said. "We are following your rules. We are doing everything by the proper channels. But our people are dying." Velroth waved a crystalline hand. "Then, build a fleet. Earn your place in this galaxy. Prove you are strong enough to matter. Until then, you must accept that stronger species have privileges you do not." "How can we build a fleet when the Council limits our ship production?" Park asked. "You restrict our access to titanium deposits. You limit our weapons manufacturing. You want us to be strong, but you tie our hands. We limit all young species," Velroth explained, as if talking to a child. "It is for the good of the galaxy. Imagine if every new species built war fleets. There would be chaos. No, you must earn trust over centuries. Perhaps in 500 years, we will reconsider your request." Park closed her eyes for a moment. 500 years. They were telling her people to die for 500 years, to accept being prey for half a millennium. She opened her eyes and looked directly at Velroth. "Then we will take other measures," she said quietly. The chamber erupted in laughter. The idea that humans could do anything without council permission seemed hilarious to these ancient beings. They had ruled the galaxy for so long that they forgot what it meant to be desperate. They forgot what it meant to be hunted. Velroth raised his hand, and the laughter stopped. "Go home, Ambassador. Tell your leaders to be patient. Tell them to accept their place. The strong rule, and the weak obey. This is the natural order." Park bowed, not out of respect, but because protocol demanded it. She turned and walked out of the chamber. Her ship waited in the docking bay, a small vessel that looked like a toy next to the massive council cruisers. Inside her ship, she opened a secure channel. Commander Han Ji-woo appeared on her screen. He was younger than her, but his eyes looked old. He had spent the last 5 years planning for this moment. "They refused?" Han asked, though he already knew the answer. "They laughed," Park said. "They laughed at our dead." Han nodded slowly. "Then we proceed with Operation First Light." "Are you sure about this?" Park asked. "Once we do this, there is no going back. The Council will never forgive us." "I do not want their forgiveness," Han said. "I want our people to stop dying. I want the galaxy to understand that humans are not prey, We are predators who have been playing nice. Now, they will see our teeth. Park thought about the plan. It was bold. It was dangerous. It was possibly insane. But Earth had tried peace. They had tried diplomacy. They had followed every rule, filled out every form, waited in every line. And their reward was laughter while their people died. Do it, she said. Han smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man about to do something terrible and necessary. Admiral Choi sends his regards. The fleet is already in position. We strike in 72 hours. Treacly. Rive live. The transmission ended. Park sat alone in her ship as it left the council station. Behind her, the 12 species continued their meeting, discussing trade agreements and territorial disputes. They had already forgotten about the human ambassador and her foolish demands. They would remember soon enough. In the darkness between stars, 40 human ships moved silently toward their target. They used new engines that Council sensors could not detect. They carried weapons that Council shields were not designed to stop. And they were crewed by people who had nothing left to lose. Admiral Choi Dae-ho stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the stars. He was 51 years old and had spent 30 years in space. He had seen the Krenth Empire destroy human colonies. He had pulled bodies from wrecked cargo ships. He had written letters to families who would never see their loved ones again. No more. All ships report ready, his second officer said. Choi nodded. Signal them. Operation First Light begins now. The human fleet vanished from normal space, sliding between the gaps in reality itself. They were going to show the Council what happened when you cornered a predator. They were going to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Humans had asked for peace. The Council had given them war. Now Earth would show them the difference between the two. The news hit the galaxy like a bomb. The bastion of Krovar was gone. Not damaged. Not disabled. Completely destroyed. The bastion had been the pride of the Krenth Empire. It was a military fortress the size of a small moon, protected by 17 defense platforms and guarded by the entire Third Armada. The Krenth had built it over 50 years, pouring resources and technology into making it unbreakable. Every military expert in the galaxy agreed that attacking Krovar would require at least 200 warships and would take weeks of fighting. Someone had destroyed it in 47 minutes. Captain Lee Haejin watched the news reports from her ship's bridge. The silent arrow hung in the darkness, invisible to every sensor in Council space. She and her crew had been part of the attack, and even now, she could hardly believe what they had accomplished. Turn it off, she told her crew. We know what we did. We do not need to watch them panic about it. But she understood the panic. No one had successfully attacked a Council military installation in 4,000 years. The Council maintained peace through overwhelming force. Everyone knew that if you attacked Council territory, you would be crushed. It was the one rule that everyone followed. Until now, Lee was 29 years old. She had joined Earth's defense initiative when she was 20. Drawn by promises of adventure and purpose, she had trained for years on the new stealth frigates, learning to fly ships that bent the rules of physics. She had been told that one day, Earth might need pilots who could do the impossible. Today had been that day. The attack had been perfect. Earth's intelligence had studied Krovar for 3 years, learning every detail of its defenses. They had mapped patrol routes, identified weak points, and calculated precise timing. Then, they had waited for the right moment. 72 hours ago, Admiral Choi had given the order. 40 human ships had entered Krenth space using the Phantom Drive, a technology that made them invisible to normal sensors. They had positioned themselves around Krovar like hunters surrounding prey. The attack began at exactly midnight, Krovar station time. Lee had fired the first shot, a missile that destroyed the main communication relay. In that instant, Krovar went dark, unable to call for help. Then, the other ships had opened fire. The defense platforms never had a chance. Human weapons worked differently than Council technology. While the Council used massive energy weapons that took time to charge, Humans used kinetic missiles that moved at incredible speeds. The platforms exploded one by one, their shields useless against weapons they were not designed to stop. The Third Armada tried to respond, but their flagship lost its engines in the first 2 minutes. Without their command ship, the other vessels fell into chaos. Human ships darted in and out, too fast and too small for the Krenth to target effectively. Every shot the humans fired hit something important: engines, weapons, life support systems. But they never targeted crew quarters. They never hit medical bays. They avoided any section that housed civilians. The attack was surgical, precise, and devastatingly effective. 47 minutes after it began, the attack ended. Krovar was a dead station, its weapons destroyed, its defenses in ruins. The Third Armada floated helplessly in space, unable to move or fight, and then the human ships vanished, leaving no trace of where they had gone. Lee had sat in her pilot seat, hands shaking from adrenaline, and thought, "We actually did it." Now, 3 days later, the galaxy was losing its mind. Fleet Commander Yoon Sunwoo contacted her from his ship. His face on the screen looked tired but satisfied. "You should see the council channels," he said. "They are going crazy trying to figure out who attacked Krovar." "Do they know it was us?" Lee asked. "They suspect, but they cannot prove it. We left no debris, no signatures, no evidence. The Krenth are screaming about human aggression. But the council wants proof." Lee smiled. "They will have proof soon enough. Ambassador Park is being summoned to an emergency council session." Yoon continued. "She is going to confirm what we did. That is when things will get interesting." Interesting was one word for it. Terrifying was another. Earth had just declared war on the established order of the galaxy. They had shown that the council was not invincible. They had proven that rules only mattered if you could enforce them. Back on Earth, in a hidden military facility, Dr. Kang Taemin watched the same news reports. He was 56 years old and had spent the last decade developing the Phantom Drive. People called him crazy when he first proposed it. They said it was impossible to move through space while remaining undetectable. He had proven them wrong. The Phantom Drive did not work like normal engines. It did not push ships through space or create wormholes. Instead, it did something stranger. It made ships exist slightly outside normal reality, sliding between the gaps in space-time. Ships using the Phantom Drive were not invisible. They simply were not quite there. Kang had based his work on quantum physics principles that most council species did not understand. The council had mastered faster than light travel thousands of years ago and saw no reason to explore other methods. They had grown comfortable, complacent. Humans had only been in space for 200 years. They were still hungry, still desperate, still willing to try impossible things. That desperation had given them an edge the council never expected. Admiral Choi called a meeting of all ship commanders. Lee connected from the silent arrow, her face appearing among dozens of others on the secure channel. "You all performed excellently," Choi said. His voice was proud but serious. "You struck a blow that will echo through history. But now comes the hard part. The council will demand answers. They will threaten us. They may even attack. We must be ready." "Are we really going to fight the entire council?" someone asked. "We are going to make them reconsider fighting us," Choi corrected. "We have proven we can strike anywhere. We have shown that their defenses mean nothing against our technology. Now we must convince them that leaving us alone is smarter than trying to crush us." Lee understood the strategy. Earth could not win a straight fight against the council. They had too few ships, too few people. But they did not need to win a straight fight. They needed to be too dangerous to attack, too costly to destroy. They needed to be the spider in the corner that everyone was afraid to swat. Ambassador Park appeared on the channel. She looked calm, but Lee could see the tension in her shoulders. "I am about to enter the council chamber," Park said. "They are going to demand explanations. What should I tell them?" Admiral Choi smiled. "Tell them the truth. Tell them we asked nicely. Tell them they refused. Tell them we have now secured our own safety. Park nodded. And when they threaten retaliation, tell them we welcome the attempt. The council chamber was filled with rage. Ambassador Park stood in the center, surrounded by alien species demanding answers. Some shouted. Some threatened. Some simply stared at her with cold hatred. The peaceful diplomatic meetings of the past were gone. Today felt like a trial, and Park was the accused. High Chancellor Velroth slammed his crystalline fist on his platform. The sound echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. You admit it? He roared. Your species attacked Krovar? You destroyed council property and crippled an allied fleet? We defended ourselves, Park said calmly. We asked for protection. You refused. So we protected ourselves. You committed an act of war. A Krenth representative screamed. You will surrender your fleet immediately. You will hand over your weapons technology. You will submit to council authority, or we will reduce Earth to ash. Park looked at the Krenth representative without fear. You are welcome to try. 2. The chamber erupted in chaos. Several species demanded immediate military action against Earth. Others called for economic sanctions. A few, the quieter ones, said nothing. They were thinking, calculating, trying to understand how humanity had accomplished the impossible. Velroth raised his hand for silence. When he spoke, his voice was deadly serious. You have attacked a council member. This cannot stand. The rules of galactic society must be maintained. Earth will surrender its military assets for inspection within 1 solar week, or we will come and take them. Park had expected this. She had prepared for this. She pressed a button on her wrist communicator. Every screen in the council chamber suddenly showed the same image. Admiral Choi Daeho, standing on the bridge of his flagship. Greetings, council members, Choi said. His voice was calm, almost friendly. I am Admiral Choi, commander of Earth's Defense Initiative. You want to understand how we destroyed Krovar. You want to know how 40 human ships defeated a fortress that should have been unbeatable. I am here to explain. Behind Choi, a holographic display appeared. It showed a sleek human ship moving through space. But on the sensor displays around it, the ship did not exist. The scanners showed only empty space. This is the Phantom Drive, Choi continued. It is based on quantum displacement theory. Our ships do not hide from your sensors. They exist slightly outside normal space-time. Your sensors cannot detect them because, from your perspective, they are not quite there. The council members stared at the display. Park watched their faces change from anger to understanding to fear. We developed this technology 5 years ago, Choi said. We have been testing it, improving it, and building a fleet around it. We now have 73 ships equipped with Phantom drives. Each one can go anywhere in council space without being detected. Each one can strike any target and vanish without a trace. A council member from the Kwavari species stood up. This is a violation of the technology restriction treaties. Young species are forbidden from developing advanced military technology without council approval. Choi shrugged. We did not ask for approval. We built what we needed to survive. You created rules to keep us weak. We broke those rules to stay alive. This is how evolution works. Another display appeared, showing the interior of a human ship. The crew was small. Only 8 people. But they moved with precision and purpose, each one handling multiple tasks simultaneously. Our warfare doctrine is different from yours, Choi explained. You build massive fleets with thousands of crew members. You rely on overwhelming firepower and superior numbers. We build small teams of highly trained specialists. Each human ship can operate independently for months. Each crew can make tactical decisions in seconds. Engineer Nam Ji-hoon appeared on the screen next. He was young, only 27, but he spoke with confidence. I designed the weapon systems for our stealth frigates, he said. Council species use energy weapons because they are powerful and efficient. But energy weapons need time to charge and can be detected before they fire. We use kinetic weapons, missiles that move at extreme speeds. By the time you detect them, they have already hit you. Intelligence Officer Kim Yuna took over the presentation. She was 31 and had spent 3 years analyzing Council military installations. "We studied you," she said simply. "We learned how you think, how you fight, how you defend yourselves. We found your weaknesses. Krovar was protected against Council weapons. It was not protected against ours." The display showed the attack on Krovar again, but this time with detailed analysis. Every shot was explained. Every tactical decision broken down. The Council members watched in silence as humans calmly explained how they had dismantled a fortress that should have been impossible to breach. "You are showing us your secrets," Velroth said slowly. "Why?" Choi smiled. "Because knowing how we did it does not help you stop us. You can redesign your defenses to counter our weapons. You can develop new sensors to detect our ships. But that takes time. Years, perhaps decades. Meanwhile, we keep improving. We keep adapting. This is what humans do best." Park spoke up from the Council chamber floor. "You called us weak. You said we were too young, too primitive. You forgot that young species are hungry. We are desperate. We are willing to try things that seem impossible. While you sat comfortable in your power, we were innovating." A moderate council member named Vensa spoke carefully. "What do you want, Ambassador? Why show us all this?" "We want to be left alone," Park said. "We want safe passage through the Threshold Passage. We want the Krenth Empire to stop attacking our ships. We want to trade and travel without fear. Give us that, and we will never use the Phantom Drive again." "And if we refuse?" Velroth asked. Admiral Choi's expression hardened. "Then we continue. We have identified 43 military installations across Council space. We know where your shipyards are. We know where your supply depots hide. We can reach any of them, at any time, without warning. We can paralyze the Council's military capability within a month." "You are threatening war with the entire galaxy," a Council member whispered. "No," Choi corrected. "We are explaining reality. You have 2 choices. Accept that Earth is now a major power and negotiate with us as equals. Or try to crush us and discover that we are much harder to kill than you thought. The first option costs you only pride. The second option costs you blood." The Council chamber fell silent. Park could see the calculations happening behind alien eyes. They were weighing options, considering consequences, trying to find a way out of this situation. She had one more card to play. "There is something else you should know," Park said quietly. "During our attack on Krovar, we could have destroyed the Third Armada. We could have killed every Krenth soldier on that station. We chose not to. We disabled ships instead of destroying them. We avoided civilian areas. We showed mercy." "Why?" someone asked. "Because we are not monsters," Park answered. "We are not here to conquer. We are not here to build an empire. We are here to survive. We will kill if we must, but we prefer to win without killing. Remember that. Remember that Earth could have made Krovar a graveyard. We chose not to. Earth, we, Admiral Choi ended his transmission. The screens in the Council chamber went dark. Park stood alone again, waiting for judgment. High Chancellor Velroth looked old suddenly. 10,000 years of peace had made the Council soft. They had forgotten that the galaxy was a dangerous place. They had forgotten that rules only worked when everyone agreed to follow them. "We need time to discuss this," Velroth said finally. "Ambassador Park, return to your ship. We will contact you with our decision." Park bowed and left. Behind her, The council began to argue about what to do with these impossible humans who refused to stay in their place. War Master Thun Kara had never lost a battle. He had commanded fleets for 30 years. He had crushed rebellions, defeated pirates, and enforced council law across 100 star systems. His record was perfect. 18 campaigns, 18 victories. When the council needed someone to teach the humans a lesson, they naturally chose him. Now he sat in his command chair, watching Earth's star system grow closer on his displays. Behind him came 240 warships, the largest council fleet assembled in 50 years. It was, everyone agreed, massive overkill for dealing with a species that had maybe 40 combat vessels. But the council wanted to send a message. Humanity had embarrassed them. Now, humans would learn what happened when you challenged the established order. All ships report ready, his tactical officer announced. We are entering the Sol system now. Thun Kara studied the sensor displays. He saw Earth, the third planet, blue and green and beautiful. He saw Mars, the red desert world that humans were trying to colonize. He saw the gas giants further out, massive planets with rings of ice. He saw no human ships. Not one. Scan again, he ordered. They must be hiding. The sensors swept the system 3 times. Nothing. Either Earth had evacuated its entire fleet, or they were using that phantom drive technology to hide. Thun Kara suspected the latter. Let them hide. His orders were simple. Disable Earth's orbital infrastructure, force their surrender, and confiscate all advanced technology. The Council would not tolerate humans having weapons that could threaten Council security. He opened a transmission to Earth. People of Earth, this is War Master Thun Kara of the Council Enforcement Fleet. You have attacked a Council member without provocation. You have violated technology treaties. You have threatened galactic peace. I am authorized to use whatever force is necessary to ensure your compliance. You have 1 hour to surrender unconditionally. The response came quickly. Admiral Choi appeared on the screen, looking calm. Behind him, Thun Kara could see a ship's bridge, but sensors still showed no ships in the system. That phantom drive really did work. War Master, I appreciate you coming all this way, Choi said. His tone was almost friendly. But I think you should turn around and go home. Thun Kara felt a flash of anger. This human was treating him like a joke. You have 1 hour to surrender. If you refuse, we will dismantle your orbital stations and blockade your planet. Earth will be cut off from the galaxy until you agree to Council terms. Choi sighed. I was hoping to avoid this. You seem like a reasonable person. But since you insist on making this difficult, let me give you a piece of advice. Leave now, or learn why predators from Earth evolved to hunt in packs. The transmission ended. Thun Kara felt his anger grow. Humans were acting like they had already won. Like 240 Council warships were nothing to fear. The arrogance was astounding. Move the fleet to attack formation, he ordered. Target Earth's orbital stations. Prepare to fire on my command. The fleet began to move. Ships spread out across space, positioning themselves for a coordinated strike. Thun Kara watched the formations take shape. Satisfied. This would be his 19th victory. And it would be the easiest yet. Then his sensor officer spoke, and her voice was confused. War Master, I am detecting multiple contacts. They are appearing all around us. The display changed. Suddenly, 40 human ships were visible. They had not flown in from somewhere else. They had simply appeared, decloaking simultaneously, in a perfect circle around the Council fleet. Thun Kara stared at the display. The humans had surrounded him. His massive fleet, which should have been the hunter, had become the prey. All ships, defensive positions, he shouted. Prepare for. The human ships opened fire. Lieutenant Shin Unbi sat at her weapons console aboard the carrier Vanguard. She was 25 years old and had been training for this moment for 3 years. When the order came to fire, her hands moved automatically, muscle memory taking over. She targeted the Council flagship's main guns. 3 missiles launched, moving so fast they were almost invisible. They hit before the Council ship could react. The massive energy weapons that could have destroyed entire cities simply exploded, ripped apart by kinetic impacts they were never designed to withstand. Around her, the rest of the Vanguard's crew worked with the same precision. Captain Oh Sungri called out targets. Commander Park Ji-won fed real-time intelligence from Earth's surveillance network. Engineer Nam Ji-hoon kept the Phantom drive running, ensuring the ship could cloak and move at will. The battle was chaos, but controlled chaos. Human ships darted in and out, firing and vanishing before the Council vessels could return fire. Every shot was aimed at weapons or engines. Every missile hit exactly where it was supposed to. The Council fleet tried to fight back, but they were designed for different kinds of warfare. Their ships were meant to line up and exchange fire until one side broke. They did not know how to fight an enemy that refused to hold still. Thunkara watched his fleet fall apart. Ship after ship reported damaged engines. Weapons systems exploded under human attacks. His beautiful formation collapsed into chaos as ships lost the ability to maneuver. "Return fire!" he screamed. "All ships, fire at will," but the Council weapons could not hit targets they could barely track. Human ships moved too fast, turned too sharply. When Council ships did manage to fire, the humans simply cloaked and vanished, reappearing somewhere else seconds later. This was not a battle. This was a slaughter. No, worse than that. A slaughter implied killing. The humans were not killing anyone. They were systematically crippling his fleet, leaving ships helpless but intact. 6 hours into the battle, Thunkara's flagship lost its engines. The massive vessel drifted helplessly in space, unable to move or fight. Around him, 70% of his fleet was in the same situation. Ships floated dead in space, crews alive, but powerless. Admiral Choi's face appeared on his screen again. "War Master, I am ordering you to withdraw. Take your surviving ships and leave the Sol system. If you refuse, we will begin targeting life support systems. This is your only warning." Thunkara wanted to refuse. He wanted to fight to the death, but he looked at his fleet, broken and helpless, and realized he had no choice. He had come here expecting an easy victory. Instead, he had been taught a lesson in humility. "All ships, retreat," he said quietly. The words tasted like poison. Those who can move tasted like poison. Those who can move begin towing disabled vessels out of the system. It took 12 hours to evacuate. The humans watched but did not interfere. They let the Council fleet limp away, carrying its shame back to the galaxy that had sent it. Captain Lee watched from the Silent Arrow as the Council ships left. She felt no joy in the victory. She had not wanted this fight. None of them had. But the Council had forced their hand. "Think they learned their lesson?" her co-pilot asked. Lee shrugged. "Maybe. Or maybe they will come back with more ships. But now they know the cost. They know we can hurt them." Admiral Choi sent a message to all human ships. "Well done, everyone. You have defended Earth and proved that we cannot be bullied. The Council will think twice before threatening us again." But Choi knew this was not over. The Council would be angry, humiliated. They might accept Earth's terms, or they might prepare for a longer war. Either way, humanity had changed the galaxy forever. On Earth, people celebrated. They did not know the full details of the battle, but they knew their fleet had won. They knew that humanity had faced the Council and survived. War Master Thunkara sat in his damaged flagship, thinking. For the first time in his career, he had been defeated. Not by superior numbers, not by better weapons, by better tactics, better training, better thinking. He had been beaten by predators who knew how to hunt. The Council chamber had changed. 3 weeks had passed since the Battle of Neptune's Shadow. 3 weeks since humanity had humiliated the greatest fleet the Council could assemble. The chamber that once echoed with confident authority now felt uncertain, fearful. Ambassador Park walked to the center of the chamber. But this time, she was not there to beg. She was there to dictate terms. High Chancellor Velroth looked older than before. His crystalline body had lost some of its shine. Defeat had aged him in ways that centuries of leadership had not. Ambassador Park, he said quietly, the Council has discussed your proposal. We have concerns. Park waited. She said nothing. Let them speak first. Let them show their hand. A Kivari Council member spoke up. You ask us to recognize Earth's sovereignty over 50 light-years of space. That is a larger territory than species twice your age control. You ask us to force the Krenth Empire to withdraw from the Threshold Passage. You ask for direct trade agreements, bypassing Council oversight. These demands are extreme. Trenth to any well. They are fair, Park corrected. We ask for the same rights any Council member enjoys. Nothing more. But you are not a Council member. Another alien said. You have not earned that status. 1. Park smiled. It was not a kind smile. We earned it when we destroyed Krovar. We earned it when we defeated your enforcement fleet. You say we must earn our place through centuries of service. We say we earned it through 1 month of action. Results matter more than time. Velroth raised his hand. There is another concern. Your technology. The Phantom Drive gives you an enormous military advantage. The Council cannot allow one species to have such power over all others. You must share this technology, or at minimum, submit to limitations on its use. Before Park could answer, every display in the chamber activated simultaneously. Commander Han Ji-woo appeared. His image projected from somewhere in deep space. And behind him, visible on long-range sensors, were human ships. Not in one location. In 12 different locations across Council space. At the same moment, all 12 ships decloaked, appearing in orbit above 12 different Council member worlds. Good morning, Council, Han said pleasantly. I wanted to demonstrate something. Those ships you see are above your home worlds. They are not in attack positions. They carry no offensive weapons. They are simply there to make a point. The Council chamber erupted in panic. Species representatives shouted at their military commanders, demanding to know how human ships had reached their home systems undetected. Han continued calmly. Earth can reach any point in Council space whenever we choose. We can appear without warning. We can leave without trace. You cannot stop us. You cannot track us. You cannot defend against us. This is the new reality. Velroth's voice shook with rage. This is a violation of sovereign space. This is an act of war. No, Han corrected. This is a demonstration. We are showing you that the rules have changed. You can choose to accept this change peacefully, or you can continue to resist. But understand this. We are not asking to join your Council. We are informing you that there is a new power in this galaxy. Admiral Choi appeared beside Han on the display. For 10,000 years, the Council maintained order through superior force. You made rules because you had the power to enforce them. But power is not permanent. It shifts. It evolves. Today, humans have power you cannot match. Tomorrow, it might be someone else. The question is, will you adapt, or will you cling to old ways until they destroy you? Park spoke up from the chamber floor. We are not your enemies. We do not want to conquer Council worlds. We do not want to overthrow your government. We simply want to be left alone to live our lives, trade freely, and protect our people. Give us that, and we will be your partners. Deny us, and we will be your problem. Councillor Vensa, the moderate Velrian who had quietly supported Earth before, stood up. I move that we accept Earth's terms. They have proven their capability. They have shown restraint despite their power. Continuing to oppose them serves no purpose except pride, and pride is a poor reason to risk war. Seconded. Another council member said quickly. Then another. Then another. Velroth looked around the chamber, seeing support for Earth growing. He had lost control. The council that had followed his leadership for 3 centuries was slipping away, and he could not stop it. Very well, he said finally. The words seemed to pain him. We will vote. All in favor of accepting Earth's terms? The vote was not unanimous, but it was decisive. 70% of the council voted to accept. Earth would have its sovereignty, its trade rights, its security. Park felt relief wash over her. They had done it. Against impossible odds, humanity had secured its place in the galaxy, not through patience or obedience, but through courage and calculated risk. The Krenth Empire will be ordered to withdraw from the Threshold Passage, Velroth announced. Earth will be recognized as a sovereign power with full territorial rights. Direct trade agreements will be permitted. And he paused, clearly hating every word. The Council will establish a Bureau of Human Affairs to facilitate communication and prevent future misunderstandings. Admiral Choi nodded. Acceptable. Earth agrees to these terms. We also agree to limit the use of the Phantom Drive to defensive purposes and scientific research. We will not use it for territorial expansion or aggressive actions against Council members. Unless they attack us first, Park added. Unless they attack us first, Choi confirmed. The human ships began to withdraw from Council space. One by one, they cloaked and vanished, returning to Earth. The demonstration was over. The message had been delivered. 6 months later, the galaxy had settled into a new normal. The Krenth Empire had withdrawn from the Threshold Passage, which was now jointly patrolled by human and Velrian vessels. The arrangement was tense, but functional. Velrians respected strength, and humanity had proven they were strong. 3 council species had approached Earth with requests for technology exchanges. They offered advanced shield technology, medical systems, and agricultural methods. In return, they wanted to understand human computer systems, AI development, and materials science. Earth agreed to limited exchanges, carefully choosing what to share. Captain Lee and the crew of the Silent Arrow had been honored as heroes. They received medals, commendations, and the respect of their fellow humans. Lee found it embarrassing. She had only done her job, but she understood that sometimes people needed heroes, needed to believe that courage and skill could overcome overwhelming odds. War Master Thunkara had been reassigned to a training position. He was not punished, exactly, but his days of field command were over. He spent his time now teaching young officers about human tactics, making sure the next generation understood the lessons he had learned the hard way. Admiral Choi stood on the bridge of his flagship, now officially designated Earth's First Fleet. He watched construction crews building new vessels, incorporating lessons learned from recent battles. Humanity would not stop innovating, would not stop improving. Think we will have to fight again? His second officer asked. Choi considered the question. Probably. The galaxy is a dangerous place. But now, when someone threatens Earth, they will think twice. They will remember Krovar. They will remember Neptune's shadow. They will ask themselves if we are worth the cost. And most of them will decide we are not. The officer said. Exactly, Choi agreed. That is the goal. Not to be the strongest. To be too dangerous to attack. To be the species that everyone knows can hurt them if provoked. Ambassador Park sent her final report to Earth's government. It was simple and direct. The Council asked if our first strike was reckless or calculated. The answer is both. It was reckless because we risked everything on one bold action. It was calculated because we knew exactly what we were doing and what it would cost. This is the human way. When survival is at stake, we do not ask for permission. We do not wait for others to save us. We act, we adapt, and we dare the universe to stop us. Today, the universe chose not to try. Tomorrow, we must be ready in case it changes its mind. Dr. Kang Taemin continued his work on the Phantom Drive, pushing it to new limits. He had teams working on even more advanced versions. Drives that could move ships faster, hide them better, reach further. The Council thought they understood human technology. They had no idea what was coming next. In the Council chamber, Velroth prepared for a new session. The agenda included discussions with Earth about joint military exercises, shared research projects, and mutual defense agreements. The species that had been dismissed as primitive newcomers just months ago were now essential partners. He had learned a hard lesson. Age did not equal wisdom, and tradition did not guarantee survival. The galaxy belonged to those who could adapt, who could change, who could embrace new ways of thinking. Humans had changed the galaxy, but they had also saved it. For 10,000 years, the Council had grown stagnant, comfortable, weak. They had stopped innovating because they thought they had already won. Humanity had reminded them that the universe rewards the hungry, the desperate, the willing to try impossible things. On Earth, people went about their lives. They worked, loved, built, dreamed. Most of them did not know the details of what had happened. They did not understand the politics, the military strategy, the diplomatic maneuvering, but they knew one thing for certain. When the galaxy tried to push humanity down, humans had pushed back and won. That knowledge changed everything.